was in grade 8, I suffocated. Well, almost suffocated, that is. My experience would have probably been fatal if there were any more people on the State High overpass between periods 1 and 2. Now that I'm in year 11 and super big, it obviously won't happen to me anymore. But we can look at my story of nearly suffocating on the bridge connecting upper and lower campus as a preview of how crowded our roads, our schools, and our cities may look like constantly in the future. This may come as somewhat of a shocker, because views on Australia's population are strikingly divided. A lot of people think we have an immense amount of underutilised and unoccupied land and not enough people. And conversely, some people take one look at peak hour traffic and think we have way too many people in our country. New Zealand's looking more and more favourable by the day. But most concerning, even more so than people crossing the ditch to join the Kiwis, is that a lot of people don't actually have an opinion in our great population debate and couldn't care less. I'm hoping that by the end of my speech, you do care. Because the fact is, Australia's population growth rate, 1.6%, is almost double that of socioeconomically similar nations. And this isn't because all of our mums and dads are continuing to have 5 children. In fact, in the year before I was born, 2001, Australia saw the lowest number of babies being born per parent in the history of our nation. It got so bad that the government told parents to have 1 baby for mum, 1 baby for dad, and 1 baby for the country. So why is our population still continuing to soar? It's simple. Every 61 seconds, one person immigrates to our country. We'll hit 30 million when we're in our 20s and 40 million when we're in our 50s. And more than half of our population will live in Sydney and Melbourne alone. So, what does this mean for us, the generation that's growing up with this population increase? Let me introduce you to Charlie. Charlie's in grade 11, loves a bit of footy, sleeping and eating. He's really good at maths, but no one notices it. And he has a crush on a girl that probably doesn't know he exists. Charlie just wants to get through high school and uni, marry the girl of his dreams, live in a big Queenslander like the one he grew up in, with a big backyard, a pool, have a couple of kids, and this cute golden retriever. Charlie wants the Australian dream. But if our population keeps growing the way it's been growing, there's a big chance Charlie won't get to live his dream. Instead, it's much more likely that he'll be faced with house prices with way too many zeros and be stuck in peak hour traffic way more than anyone wants to. Because the fact is, Australian house prices have increased more than 50% in the last 5 years, and traffic has increased by 28%. Can we really let this happen? But to what extent are we willing to sacrifice our migrants to give Charlie his dream? Because Charlie's friend Sophie also wants the Australian dream. Sophie migrated to Australia when she was a toddler, and she's been an Aussie ever since. Sophie plays such an important role in supporting Australia's other citizens. Considering that by 2050, 1 in 4 people will be over 65 and needing the pension, we need migrants like Sophie to support our ageing population. Migrants bring skills that we otherwise wouldn't have. If we cap migration now, it'll cost the budget $5 billion in revenue because of less numbers of skilled workers and lower economic growth. And Sophie will be stripped of her Australian dream. So we've got to ask ourselves, is it really so bad keeping our population rate as it is? So if Charlie gets what he wants, does this mean Sophie's dream is compromised? Can we control our population without compromising our economic stability? And can we realistically create a society where all the Charlies and the Sophies both get what they want? Maybe, sometime in the future, we can. Because when taking a look at other cities with huge populations like London, New York, and Tokyo, we can see they still provide most of their citizens with quality lifestyles. Australia needs a plan if we're to flourish in the future. We need equitable education, affordable healthcare, food and climate security, and the list goes on. The reason why Australia hasn't developed this plan isn't because we're unaware of the issue. It's because the conversation surrounding immigration has turned negative very quickly, and it's turned more so into an us or them debate. Someday, it'll be up to our generation to provide these things for Australia. We may be able to push for migrants to start living in rural areas or start getting Aussies used to the idea of living in apartments in the city. So, whether your ideal population is big or small, remember to consider both Charlie and Sophie's experiences when making your decision to shape our future.